Welcome everyone to our regular Thinking Thursday and a Happy New Year to everybody. Just in case we've missed wishing you all. Varsha ji is going to introduce our speaker today, Hitesh Vashisht. Varsha ji, please go ahead.
Sure. Hello, Hitesh. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Varsha ji.
Hitesh is the author of the bestseller book Sundaram Speaks, Conversations to Awaken Your Soul's Wisdom. He is also an award-winning coach par excellence, a workshop leader and healer with a decade and a half experience in the field of human behavior. He's an internationally registered consciousness coach with Certified Coaches Alliance, CCA, Canada, and International Coach Federation, ICF. With more than 6,000 plus one-on-one healing and coaching sessions, he has transformed people in healing childhood and past life traumas, ancestral patterns, deep subconscious beliefs, and lead a life of meaning and purpose. Having done master's degree in human resources management, he has also worked in the apparel, fashion, real estate, education, automotive, and telecom sectors. He has coached CEOs, bureaucrats, doctors, teachers, housewives, children, helping them realize that they are whole and capable of achieving anything and everything. So, welcome, Hitesh ji. And the floor is open to you. The floor is all yours.
Very much. Thank you, Varsha ji.
You're welcome.
So, friends, first of all, my New Year wishes to all of you. And I just wish that this year brings more of love and warmth that is inside of us, but maybe sprout it and scout it even more within each one of us. And I'm glad, I guess this is the first Thinking Thursday for year 2025. And I'm not sure, but if it is, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. And even if it is not, even then, thank you for this opportunity, because it's always a pleasure. And I always say that coming here always feels like being in the family. Like, you're coming home. And I see that, people, we all share the same kind of a vibration and a wavelength. So it never feels that, you've gone to something which is outside. So I always feel it at home. So thank you for having me here. And friends, today we'll be discussing about Panchavimshati. So how many of you have heard of this word Panchavimshati?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I will be sharing a presentation with all of you, because this concept will really help you to understand not just your own self, but how this whole creation has evolved. So it will be a great way to understand the creation by way of the concept of Panchavimshati. Okay. So I'll explain the concept first, and then maybe we can have certain questions if you wish to ask, some things around that. And then we'll see how the session flows. So let me just play the presentation for you. So is it visible to all of you?
Yes.
All right. So Panchavimshati. So Panchavimshati actually means 25. The concept of 25. It speaks about 25 tattvas, 25 elements. And where does it come from? It comes from Sankhya philosophy. We also call it Sankhya. We also call it Samkhya. Samkhya philosophy. Like our Vedas, we have 4 Vedas. All of you are aware of it: Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samved, Atharvaved. And all these Vedas have been seen with different viewpoints by different seers. Like all our Rishi Munis are called seers. And these seers have created certain philosophies. We call them as Darshan Shastra. So there are various kinds of Darshan Shastra that are available. Like there is a Yoga Darshan Shastra, there is Mimasa, there are so many. Visheshika is there, Nyaya, all of them are there. One such Darshan Shastra is called Samkhya philosophy. So, what is Samkhya? If you read it as Sankhya, you know what is the meaning of Sankhya. Sankhya means number, right? But it has another meaning to it. Sam and Kya. It's a combination of these two words, Sam and Kya. So, what is Sam? Sam has come from the word called Samyak. Samyak means that which is all inclusive, that which includes everything, Samyak. And Kya means wisdom. So Samkhya means the wisdom that has everything included in it. That wisdom that is all inclusive in nature is called Samkhya philosophy. And who coined this? Who is the basic drashta of Samkhya philosophy? His name is Kapil Muni. So Kapil Muni, if I were to give an introduction to him, all of us have, some bit of read about Bhagavad Gita. Let's say there is one area in Bhagavad Gita wherein Lord Krishna gives his own introduction to Arjuna. He tells who is he. So he's trying to explain his own self. And he's trying to explain by creating his analogy to so many things. Like he tries to explain if, like, I am Indra out of all the devas. He says it like this. And then he further goes and, he says that I am Eravat all out of all the elephants. And then he also says, I am Samaved out of all the Vedas. So he tries to explain his own self by giving the best out of all these stratas of society. And he also says, out of wise people, out of munis, I am Kapila Muni. So he explains himself like this. Many of us, we only know that there are, like 9 reincarnations of Lord Vishnu that have come. The 10th is about to come. We call them as Dasavatar. But there are so many other reincarnations of Lord Vishnu, and Kapila Muni is considered to be one of that. So he is also a form of Lord Vishnu. So when he came as Lord Vishnu, he propounded this Sankhya philosophy. He created this. And the reference of Sankhya philosophy is given in our Bhagavad Gita in so many ways. In fact, Lord Krishna speaks about Sankhya and Yoga philosophy. He speaks about these two philosophies in complete Bhagavad Gita. So such is the power of this Muni, Kapila Muni, and the work that he has given, Sankhya philosophy. Now, this philosophy says that there are 25 elements. It does not say that there are 26. It does not say there are 24. There is a fixed number, it says, and which is 25. It can never be increased. It can never be decreased. It speaks about that. And what are these 25 elements? It says that whole universe is basically evolution of these 25 elements. Now, many of us, we have this question, who created this universe? Who created our existence? And some of us, we know that Ishvara created this existence. We say it like that. But Samkhya philosophy goes completely opposite of it. It never says that it was created. It never says that. It says it was evolved. It got evolved. It's a theory of evolution, the mathematics of evolution that came into the picture. And that led to, what we see. that led to the evolution of what we currently see, what we currently perceive and experience, in our human body, or the other sentient beings, or all other beings are experiencing. It's always an evolution. There is never a creation, because that which is created right now, that which we see right now, was already there before before the creation process was put into the picture, basically. Like, there is this one question each one of us have: anda pehle aaya ya murgi pehle aayi? We always have this question, and there are conflicts. Oh, pehle anda aaya, pehle murgi aayi, ya beej pehle aaya ya ped pehle aaya? So it says whatever we see in the creation right now, it comes from that which was already there in the subtle form. For example, if I were to give you an example of a ghada, like a mitti ka ghada, a clay pot. Now, how does this clay pot come into the picture? There are two ways. One is you need ingredients. What are those ingredients? Like, you need mitti to create a clay pot, to give it a shape. So mitti was already there, and that's how clay pot was coming into the picture. It's just that the shape has changed. And in the same way, the clay pot was also needing a potterer, because without a potterer, mitti cannot do anything. It cannot take its own shape of a clay pot. So in that human form, who is a potterer, is also holding the very thought of the clay pot. Like, in this person's imagination, the clay pot is staying. So that is also the cause. So which is what Sankhya philosophy says. It says that nothing is created. Whatever you see in the form of evolution was already there in the subtle form before the evolution journey took place. It was already there. It's just that from the unmanifested, from avyakta, it came into vyakta. The unmanifested turned into manifested form. Nothing out of the blue is coming. And it says these 25 elements, rather, eventually you will understand that there are only 2 elements that are doing the entire thing, and rest 23 are actually, the further segmentation of all of it coming out of that. But after this 25 elements, nothing can be created. Nothing can be created. Only to this extent something can be created, and then humans came, the evolution of animals and all other things came into the picture. So that's what it speaks about. Now, I will show you what are these 25 elements. I'll just give you first the very chart of it so that you understand it, and then we can talk about one element at a time. So what are these 25 elements? The very first element is called Purusha, and then Prakriti, and then Mahat, Ahankar. Ahankar has, many segments into it. It is called Manas, Gyanendriya, Karmendriya, Tanmatras, and Panchamahabhuta. So all of these combined together create 25 elements. So now let us go into one element at a time to understand that how this evolution took place and what led to the other. Okay. The very first we are going to discuss is Purusha and Prakriti. So Purusha is counted as 0. It is not counted as 1. And the numbering of all these 25 elements are from 0 to 24, dear friends. It's not 1 to 25. Purusha is considered 0. Why? Because of its very nature of Purusha. What is Purusha? Purusha is that which is still. It is fixed. It is unchangeable. It never changes. It is without any qualities, nirguna. It never took birth. It never dies. It is constant. We will have this law which says change is the only constant. But we can change it and we can say Purusha is the only constant. It never changes. It was, it is, and it shall continue to. It remains like that. There is no change in we cannot even say the nature, because by giving it the terminology as nature, we are trying to define Purusha. So that's why it is called zero. It has no explanation. It's only still. That means it existed, it is existing, and it shall continue to exist. That fixed element is called Purusha. We can also say Purusha as consciousness, okay, the Chetana. And we also know that the Chetana is the very center of everything. For example, inside the body, I have consciousness. No, I cannot say this statement that I hold the consciousness. Rather, I would say the consciousness is appearing as Hitesh. The consciousness is appearing as this slides. The consciousness is appearing as somebody who's watching it. The consciousness is appearing as the watcher. The consciousness is appearing as the listener. So it's the different forms in which the consciousness is appearing. That's Purusha. And then Prakriti. Prakriti is basically the energy of consciousness, because consciousness in itself cannot do anything without energy. So energy, Prakriti is energy. Prakriti is quality based. It has a lot of gunas. Purusha is gunatit. It is beyond gunas. Nirguna. Prakriti has gunas. It has so many qualities. And then Prakriti is changing. It's completely taking different shapes. It's moving. It's very, very engaging. That's the element of Prakriti. It's the potential energy. Like the water has the potential to be taking the form of any vessel that you put into. In the same way, Prakriti is the very element that has the potential to take any form, the form that your mind tries to offer. So that's how the Prakriti is being defined. So our body holds Purusha and Prakriti, the fixed and the variable together. If I were to give you an example, my nose. My nose is fixed. It's fixed here. It does not move here. It does not move here. It does not move in the middle of my chest. But the ability of the nose to breathe, the smell is changing. Today I have a good smell coming in my nostrils. Tomorrow I go somewhere, I might have a foul smell being experienced by my nose. So the smell is variable. But the organ of the smell, which is my nose, is fixed. So that is Purusha and Prakriti working together. So Purusha is fixed, it's one everywhere. The Prakriti is constantly moving and changing. What is smell for me? Maybe an order for you. What is fragrance for me? Maybe it's a bad smell for you. What is music to me? It might turn out to be a pain in your head, right? So different people have different perspectives as far as Prakriti is concerned. Not only about different people, I myself also might have a different perspective to one thing in different times. Today, I like listening to lot of rock music. Tomorrow, if I am having any other day which is not a good, I'm not in my good energy, what will happen? I might not like the rock music the way I'm liking today. So Prakriti is constantly variable. The experiences are different. And that's why it is called energy. You all know energy takes different shapes. So Purusha and Prakriti, they walk hand in hand. Why do they walk hand in hand? Because without each other, they cannot survive. Like, if you were to experience yourself, if you were to see yourself, how are you going to see yourself? Can anybody tell me? How are you going to see yourself? If you were to see yourself, how would you see?
May I, Hitesh?
Yes, please.
Through activity.
Through activity. Okay. For example, you need to see your face. How would you see?
Through mirror.
Through a mirror.
Through mirror. Absolutely. You need a reflection to see yourself. Same way, Purusha wants to experience itself. Now it is whole and complete, but it wants to experience itself. And that experience is not possible without having Prakriti. So Prakriti is a mirror to Purusha. So Prakriti helps Purusha to see, hey man, you look like this, you're like that. And whatever is created in the mirror is basically the world. It's the evolution of the world that has taken place. It is through this world, the Purusha is trying to have his own reflection, is trying to know more about his own self. So that's how Purusha and Prakriti work together. If there is no mirror, there can be no reflection and there can be no experience of you. In the same way, if there is no Prakriti, Purusha cannot have the experience of self. So Purusha has consciousness. Purusha, wants to experience itself. Prakriti, she has a lot of experience. She has a lot of energy, but she does not have direction. She does not know how to. So they help each other. Purusha says, okay, I will give you the direction. I will give you the goal. I will tell you this is what you need to do. And Prakriti says, I will give you the energy for you to manifest, from the unmanifest to manifest, from avyakta to vyakta. So that's how Purusha and Prakriti, they walk hand in hand, hand in hand. And that led to the creation of everything. So Purusha and Prakriti, they are also considered to be, Prakriti is also considered to be Moola Prakriti, like Mool in the sense, the foundational energy, the potential energy of everything. It does not mean it is the completely manifested energy. It also holds the unmanifested form. Our Upanishad says that whatever creation we see right now is not even 1/4 of the unmanifest. It's not even 1/4 of it. So there is so much of potential which is still unmanifested and is being held into these energies. So that's how these energies work together to give the evolution the further steps. Now, what happens when they come together? What happens when they come together? Like, when they come together, the masculine or feminine or the Purusha and Prakriti come together, the Mahat takes the birth. Mahat. What is Mahat? Mahat is actually called the cosmic intelligence. It's the cosmic intelligence. It is like the field of infinite possibilities, infinite intelligence, the divine cosmic intelligence. This intelligence lives in each and everything. Like, who tells the sun to shine in every morning? It's the cosmic intelligence. The Purusha and Prakriti lives in the sun. But with the amalgamation of both, with the interaction of both, the intelligence comes into the sun that, oh, I have to shine. I have to make this world light up. That's my nature. And same way it goes with the moon also. I have to come in the night. I have to mellow down people's activity. I have to make them feel at ease. I allow them to sleep. Where does it come from? It comes from the very cosmic intelligence that works inside of them. When a child takes birth, who tells the child to suck the milk from the mother's breast? Nobody. The child knows on its own. The moment it comes to the source, it begins to suck the milk on its own. In the same way, you see this cosmic intelligence working for everyone, dear friends. The very nature is being expressed through this cosmic intelligence. Like, who teaches flower to bloom? Who teaches flower to spread the fragrance? The cosmic intelligence. It's the cosmic intelligence at play. Who teaches the child to say mama, in the very first go? Who teaches the child to cry? The cosmic intelligence, the intelligence which is at play for all of us. Nobody taught us about our hunger. It's the cosmic intelligence that says, hey, I need something. I need to eat something. The very first hunger that came, it came from that. The Mahat, that is called the cosmic intelligence. Now, Mahat can also be identified as Buddhi. It's also called Buddhi, but Buddhi is more of an individual intelligence. The power of decision making, the ability of discernment is called Buddhi. And once Mahat comes into the picture, then comes Ahankar. Now, what is Ahankar? Ahankar is basically the ego, the self-identity. Although we know Ahankar at a very gross level, we say, oh, you are egoistic. Stop being an egoistic person. But Ahankar is also, friends, it gives us a sense of identity. It gives us a sense of separation from others. It gives you a sense of I. For example, if I am thirsty, I need water. I'm not going to say we all need water. I need to be very specific. Oh, I need water. So that's how the Ahankar works into the picture. It speaks about the soul. It speaks about your own individual identity. It speaks about that. And Ahankar further gets verified into several forms, which we say Sattva, Rajasa, and Tamas. From Mahat comes the Ahankar. That means from the Mahat, Ahankar takes the birth. And Ahankar can be moved into, different aspects, like different gunas, which we call as Sattva, Rajasa, and Tamas. There can be a Sattva Ahankar, there can be a Rajas Tamas Ahankar, and there can be a Tamas Ahankar. Now, what is Sattva, Rajas, Tamas? Sattva is the ability to flow, lightness. When we talk about light, जब हम प्रकाश की बात करते हैं, we say, oh, it is so Sattva. In our meditations, we always like to have light. We say golden light. We never say golden dark. Right? Because we are drawn to that Sattva nature. That's the very nature. It's the lightness and the flow. Sattva is the flow. Rajas is the intensity, the action at work, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the thrill is called Rajas. And then Tamas. Tamas is basically inertia, static, immobile, laziness, lethargy. So in all the activities, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas is present, dear friends. It's there always. For example, if I give you an example of, let's say, a matchstick. I want to burn a matchstick. Now look at my act. I take the matchstick, I move it on the side of the matchbox, and then the fire gets ignited, and then it goes away. It burns the entire stick. So the moment I put this, the first action that I did, this is called Rajas. This is the action. I did a Rajas action. And then the fire came in. Fire is trying to destroy everything. That is Tamas. It's the destruction which is happening naturally. And then whatever is flowing after the fire has been ignited, that is called Sattva. The flow is Sattva. So these all things, they move hand in hand, dear friends. There is none in this existence which is only solely Sattva, solely Rajas, or solely Tamas. They can be dominant, but it does not mean that the other one is not present. They're present with each other. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Ayurveda speaks a lot about Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. It says when there is a imbalance of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, it leads you to Roga. Rog. Ayurveda says Rog is basically disease. But Rog also means the non-alignment of your body, mind, and spirit. That means one of your sattvas has, you're majorly staying in one of the gunas. Like people who, let's say, who are in, depression, they might end up feeling a lot lazy, not wanting to get up from the bed. Where are they stationed more in their life? It is called tamas. So the more they stay in tamas, the more laziness they will feel. So then they need to ignite sattva and rajas, which means a lot of action needs to be involved. Sattva means the fluidity has to happen. In the same way, if you stay so much in sattva, you're flowing, you're not letting other things to come to an end. If you don't let other things to come to an end, what will you create? You will not be able to create anything. Nothing will move in creation. So they move in circle, dear friends. Sattva, rajas, tamas, they move in circles. And they all walk in hand in hand. So ahankar can be sattva, ahankar can be rajas, ahankar can be tamas. Now, these two elements, once they come into the picture, then the fourth element comes into the picture, which is called manas, mind. Now, let me stop here and give you an example of manas, buddhi, chitta, and ahankar. So these are called antahakarana. Antahakarana. There are four elements: manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. Okay. Chitta is also considered to be here. Chitta is also considered to be the part of manas. Okay. But there are four sections through which your mind thinks and processes a lot of information. What do these sections do? Let's say if I were to give you an example, you thought of going on a dinner with your, let's say, with your partner. Okay. This idea, this very thought came to you. Oh, I want to go for a dinner with my partner. And then the next thought comes in. Where should I go? Where should I not go? Are there any deals going on? Are there coupons available? Which one is nice for me? What kind of a cuisine do I want to taste? All these things are going to come to you. A lot of permutations of thoughts are going to happen to you. And then you will also think, oh, last time I went there, I think the food was not nice there. So probably I will try some other restaurant, not that restaurant. Or maybe that friend recommended me, some XYZ restaurant. Let me go there and try because I have not tried the food there. So many references also come in. And then finally, you take the decision to go, to not go. And if you want to go, where to go, where not to go. Like, kind of an algorithm shows up inside your mind. Now, how these entities, how these elements of manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, they are working inside of you. Let me give you an example through this. Manas. What does manas do? Manas just creates a lot of thoughts inside of you. The very nature of your lower mind is to create a lot of thoughts inside you. It just wants to create thoughts. Oh, I want to do this. I want to have that. I want to experience this. I don't want to experience this. A lot of thoughts that are happening are coming from the space of manas. And then the reference comes in. You say, oh, my friend told me this. I have not experienced this. Let me go there. My last time experience of that restaurant was not good. So you are taking a reference from the past. Can you see? What is this? This is called chitta. Reference from the past comes from your subconscious. Your subconscious is chitta, your memory bank. It wants to help you in something. It wants to throw more thoughts on the basis of that. So chitta. And then ahankar comes into the picture. What is ahankar? That says, what does ahankar says? I want to experience that. I want to taste this cuisine. I don't want to have, a kind of any other drink apart from mojito. I want to have that. So it is going to be very specific based on your needs and your taste, based on your liking and what you want to experience in that moment. That is called ahankar. And finally, the decision comes. Do you want to go? Do you not want to go? If you want to go, where do you want to go? Where you not want to go? Where does it come from? It comes from buddhi. Buddhi is the decision maker. Manas in itself has no power to make the decision. Manas just knows how to create thoughts. It does not know how to reach to a decision. So buddhi does that work. So buddhi helps to reach to a particular decision, taking in reference of the past, taking in reference of your ahankar, taking in reference to the manas. Now, ideally, the thing is, manas reports to ahankar, manas and chit reports to ahankar, ahankar reports to buddhi. Like mahat is bigger than ahankar, and under the ahankar is chitta and manas. When we are unconscious, dear friends, when we are unconscious means then when we are more into the body conscious, we are more concerned about the body and our sensory pleasures, then the mind becomes the boss and manas is forgotten. The manas is weak. It's also going to take very petty issues and decisions around that. For example, when somebody did wrong to you, and when someone does wrong to you, then comes your time to do something for the person. Inside the thought says, why would I do good to them? I would give them tit for tat. So can you see how your manas and chitta has influenced your buddhi? The buddhi is also thinking in a very weak way. It says, no, I'm going to, teach them a lesson. I'm not going to help them. It's a revenge. It's a very body conscious.
Can you repeat this again? Last part about manas and connection.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, ideally, mahat has given birth to ahankar. And out of ahankar, the manas has taken birth. Manas and chitta has taken birth. Now, if we are living more into our body and if we are more into our ego, like somebody does wrong to us and then we have a chance to do something for them, what comes in my mind? I will not do anything for them, tit for tat. I will teach them a lesson. Why should I help them? So the decision is also based on your lower buddhi. Lower buddhi leads you to lower intellect. It's lower intellect. It helps you to make small decisions. But when the person grows its buddhi, the mahat, then the decision, the manas also experiences the same. Because mahat is the birther of all these things. Mahat is not the one which is born out of manas. It is the daddy of the manas. So it is like unconsciously, when we are unconscious, when we are more into body conscious, the manas and the chitta are the boss. But when we are more into the conscious plane, we live our life consciously, we do our sadhana, then buddhi is the boss. Buddhi influences, hey, you need to help. If you don't help, then what is the difference between you and them? It will say like this. अगर तुम भी वो करोगे, वो कर रहा है, तो तुम में और उसमें
where does ahankar come in this thing? So manas and chitta.
Ahankar is the I-ness. Everything is spoken about you, right? It is I-ness.
Yeah. No, when you said that manas and chitta are more body conscious, and buddhi is more whatever higher consciousness, and then
No.
ahankar. Ahankar is also more lower consciousness.
Not like this. Yeah. Manas and chitta are not body consciousness. What I simply mean to say, when we are more into our body conscious, which means we are just living from the space of body, we just feel that we are the body. If somebody says wrong to me, that means that person is bad to me. We try to be very judgmental and critical to everything. We do loose talks like gossips. That means what is happening here is, like, we go to parties wherein the discussion is only about the jewelry. Which party did you go to? What jewelry are you wearing? What sari are you wearing? How much did you spend on your child's wedding? And the decisions are also taken basis that, oh, this person spent 20 crores on his son's wedding. I have to spend 25 crores. Can you see the decisions are also taken from the lower space? So if you are living more in your body consciousness, that means your buddhi is also going to be affected. It is also going to be a lower buddhi. It's not going to be a divya buddhi. On the other hand, if you go to certain parties wherein the discussions of all this is happening, you will still listen to them, but your decisions are going to be basis your own part. You're going to be deciding it's okay, money is not the factor. All that matters is that we should get a sense of contentment to from what we are doing. It's more not about the resources that are being spent. It is more about the bonding that we create in the marriage. It's going to have a very elevated view of life, elevated view of your decision making and the situations of life. That is Divya Buddhi. Okay.
So whether we are
can we take the questions later? Would that be okay?
Okay, all right.
I will take the questions later. You can write down the questions in the in the chat box. I will give you the answers. And then Manas comes into the picture. Now Manas has to work. How does Manas work? Manas has to work through the organs of senses. You all know there are 5 organs of senses that we hold: ears, eyes, skin, nose, and tongue. And then there are 5 organs of actions also. The speech happens through tongue, the grasping happens, the moving, the reproduction, and the excretion. These are karmendriya. All the karma that is being happening. And Gyanendriya. Gyanendriya is your organs of senses. Karmendriya is your organs of actions. So this is under Manas. Because whatever thought comes to you, mind gets you into the action. Mind gets you into experiencing that. For example, this thought comes to me, oh, I need to drink a glass of water. Now, I will go and fetch the glass of water. Can you see? I'm using my senses. I'm going to see the glass. I'm going to pour the water. I'm also going to listen to the sound of the pouring, and then I'm going to pick it up and going to use it, bring it nearer to my mouth, So the sense of grasping, moving, speech, and then ultimately I will also secrete through urine. We'll be, letting go. It's a process of excretion also, the stool passing also. That's a karmendri. The reproduction also, offspring, creation of offspring. These are karmendriyas. Now, there are subtle senses also. We call them as tanmatras. How do we define tanmatras? Now, friends, consider that your eyes are closed right now. Let's say in the night, your eyes are closed. Can you still see? Tell me, can you still see?
Yes.
Yes, light and dark we can sense.
Okay. What else can you see?
Dreams.
Dreams. Very good. So what does it show? That means even if your gross senses are not at work, there is a subtle sense which is at work. The ability to, have a form to something. That is your subtle sense. For example, when you meditate, there are no flowers that are being kept around you, but you get a smell of roses. Where does it come from? It is not in the gross plane. It is not in the physical plane. There's not such element which is present, but still you're getting the sense of it. What does it mean? It means your subtle senses are at play. There are sounds like they're not coming from, like sometimes we meditate, we get the guidance from within. Nobody is speaking to you from outside. There's no such teacher who's speaking to you from outside, but there is an inner guidance. How are you able to listen to that? There is a, that sound, that ability to listen, that inner ear is working. So these are called subtle senses, dear friends. In other words, we can also say the intuition part of you. These are subtle senses of you. And once these subtle senses are also coming into the picture, ultimately, the 5 elements come into the picture. What are these 5 elements? Ether, air, fire, water, and earth. We call them as Bhagavan, Bhagavan. Bhumi, Gagan, Vayu, Neer, and Akash. Bhagav, Akash, and Neer. Bhumi, Gagan, Vayu, Akash, and Neer. Fire, earth, air, water, and space. So ultimately, once this comes into the picture, the entire evolution now happens from this place. There is no further element from this. There cannot be any 25th, 26th element that can be created. Even if you create something, that is also only going to be a sub-element of one of these elements. Like in chemistry, we have that periodic table, if you remember. We would study that periodic table. All the elements were written there. And 108 elements. And it was said that you can further create elements out of those elements. Some new birth can be given out apart from that 108. But here the elements cannot be expanded further. It is only going to be 25 elements. Rather, whatever you're going to create is going to be an extension of it or coming under one of the factors that we have spoken. So that's how, friends, the creation came into the picture. Once fire, earth, air, water, and space came, you know that we are made up of these 5 elements. You know that there are subtle senses at play. You know there are karmendriyas at play. There are jnanendriyas at play. And same goes with the animals also. Same goes with the plant kingdom also. Same goes with the mineral kingdom also. Same goes with everything. Whatever we term as non-living and living, same goes to everything. And that's what, the evolution journey that he offered. Now, I can stop here and I can, answer some of the questions that, have been asked by you. So, maybe we can raise a hand or I can just go through.
Yes, I think everybody who wants to ask a question, please raise your virtual hand. First, raise your virtual hand, okay? And we'll go one by one. Ambika, you want to go ahead?
Yes, ma'am. I joined halfway. So at the time you were saying that when somebody is doing something bad with us or we don't like their behavior, we also stoop to that level and we say, I will also not do. When he has not done, I will not also do anything beneficial for him or her. Right? Am I right?
Yes. Okay.
So I want to know, when what is the point where should we should differentiate between not giving it back to them just as they did and maintaining your self respect, at the moment when Krishna ji said to Arjun, you should fight even if it is your brother, even if it is your guru. So how to differentiate, how do we decide that when we don't want to stoop to that level? Of course, Arjun was also saying that let me leave it because I don't want such a kingdom which is which I win by killing these people whom I love.
Right.
So but Lord Krishna ji said no, this is, you should maintain it because you should follow the path of dharma and you are following the path of dharma. So how do we in regular life, in normal life, the situation we face, how do we describe that point?
Yeah. So first of all, this decision that you are saying, how do we decide? This comes from buddhi. This is the job of buddhi. Buddhi helps us to decide something. Now, buddhi has 4 parameters. Let me put it in this way. Okay. There are 4 parameters on the basis of which the buddhi is able to discern. There are 4 differentiations that buddhi does. First is dharma and adharma. the difference between dharma and adharma. Second is the difference between the gyan and the gyan. The third is the difference between shakti and shaktihin. The fourth is the difference between passion and dispassion, like detachment and attachment. So buddhi works on these four parameters. Now, there is no rule of thumb that what should be decided here. Even Krishna, when he tells it to, Arjuna, that do this, he gave the entire Upanishad, entire Upadesh to Arjuna. But in the end, he said, Yathachasi tatha karu. Yathachasi tatha kuru. What does it mean? Do as you like. Do as you like. He said, I have done my part. I have told you. Now you can do what you want to do. Now, how is Arjuna going to take the decision? It's on the basis of his buddhi. So in this question also, there is no such answer. The answer lies with you because it is personal to you. यथच्छसि तथा करो. आप सुनिए, सुन के अपना डिसीजन खुद लीजिए. 4 पैरामीटर्स हैं: धर्म अधर्म, ज्ञान अज्ञान, passion dispassion, and then ultimately शक्ति and शक्तिहीन. हाँ, ये मैं आपको बता सकता हूं कि to reach to this decision, you must do your sadhana. Because the more you do your sadhana, the more you experience the upper elements, which are Purusha and Prakriti, the unmanifested elements, which are right, because Mahat is the third element that comes into the picture. So it's closest to both. So the more you experience that through your sadhana, the more your buddhi is going to be purified. So a purified buddhi is called Divya Buddhi. It is called Divya Buddhi. Maharshi Patanjali says Divya Buddhi. Develop Divya Buddhi. How? By meditating, by experiencing samadhi. He says Ashtanga Yoga. So he says it in a different way. Okay? So dharma is basically the ability to do right at the right time, in the right job. I have a dharma of a son, you have a dharma of a mother, you have a dharma of any other, a citizen. We carry so many dharmas: swadharma, parivar dharma, and samaj dharma. And same way, gyan. What is the difference between gyan and agyan? That which stays forever is gyan. That which never stays forever is agyan. Attachment, detachment. That's also there. Vairagya creates detachment. Ragya creates attachment. More the attachment, more the karma. More is the karma. And the same way, power and powerless. Shakti, Shaktihin. So the more we are attached to Gyan, the more we are attached to Dharma, the more we are attached to detachment, we'll be a lot more powerful. Okay. So I cannot give you the answer for your life, but I can tell you the way to reach that, because you have to have your own personal decision.
Of course. Everybody's situation is different, so it's not possible to give. But thank you.
Welcome.
Wonderful. Okay, I have a request. Okay, you need to frame your question correctly. Please don't just, spend time explaining your question. So frame your question correctly so Hitesh can answer your question. Okay, that's also very important. Before you ask a question, please prepare your question. Okay. Rashmi, you've raised your hand.
Yeah. My question was, when you were explaining about manas, chitta, ahankar, and buddhi. So you were talking about lower consciousness and higher consciousness. So you were saying 2 of them come into play when there is lower, and 2 of them come into play when it is higher. So I don't know, but I think that all 4 of them will have to come into play, right? Whether it is lower or higher.
All of them come into the play, irrespective of you are operating in your body consciousness or you are operating in your soul consciousness. All of them come at play.
Yeah. Thank you. Another thing I would like to add is the Samkhya that you have written there. It is actually pronounced as Sankhya, because Sam and Kya in Sanskrit, according to the rules of Sanskrit, when the Sandhi happens, so because the next word is Ka, no? So in the
Right.
letters of Devanagari. It's ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. So the last sound of every line of that of the Devanagari, that is added when you do the sandhi.
Right, right. Absolutely, you're right. So that is one of the meanings which is given to Sankhya. But in actual terms, it's also called Samkhya. Sam means Samagra.
Yeah. So when you're doing the viched of like sandhi is
You're
the
right in your ways. In
the
Sanskrit,
word.
Devanagari, you're right.
Yeah. So it is sam plus kya, but when you join the two words, it becomes, you have to
Sankhya.
sound it as sankhya. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Anyone else wanting to ask a question? Clarification of what, if you didn't understand something that Hitesh said.
Ma'am, it is very deep knowledge. I like 2 more times I have to go through the record. I'm requesting the record, please. It's very important getting to get into it.
Yeah. We will put it on YouTube. Yeah, but now you can go through it again and again and again. These things have to be reflected upon. No, first you listen, then you reflect, then you integrate, then you process. So there are so many steps when you listen to such deep wisdom. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Anyone else wants to say anything? Ask a question to Hitesh. Okay. So,
no such question, but I would appreciate the way he has taken the real life example of chemistry periodic table and these elements and many more such simple example of matchbox that I liked too much. So it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So that's how I can relate that how this thing can help me, because all a thing is like I want, if I'm listening here and Mr. Hitesh is giving time, I want to improve, use that for my life to solve the better. And how I can send the question after, just I post in here, and will it be reachable to Mr. Hitesh when I grasp the thing, the knowledge I'm trying to learn right now?
Yeah. First you listen and then you can send the question on to me and I will forward it to Hitesh. Okay. Once you listen to the thing. Okay, Barnali.
Thank you.
Okay. So
I have a quick question, ma'am.
Okay.
This is Priyanka.
Yeah. Priyanka, go ahead.
Thank you, Hitesh. Very informative session. I was wondering if the the bit that you were talking about, the chitta manas and it being integrated with the is there a correlation between the higher self and the lower self, the small I and the big I, and the sequence of when the chitta and manas are beneath the I'm getting the terminology, it's too much to grasp, but is there a correlation between?
Yes, there is a correlation. You can say that, see, the more the refinement, the higher self speaks more about your refined buddhi. Higher self is nothing but your refined version of buddhi. It is more of mahat.
Right.
Mahat is nothing but it is absolutely non-judgmental and non-critical. Right? There can be another form of buddhi also, but that can be lower in nature. Let's say, for example, I gave you an example. If somebody did wrong to me, I would also say, no, I'm not going to do that. I will give him tit for tat. I'm using buddhi. I'm making a decision, but the decision is lower in nature because I'm judging, I'm criticizing the other. Or maybe in some situations, I'll end up criticizing me. For example, I was supposed to say something to someone and I could not muster strength to say something to the person. And at the end of the day, I come back home and I'm brooding over the whole thing and I'm saying, I wish I could have said this to the person. Why didn't I say this? So I'm criticizing myself. So decisions are there. but they are lower in nature. So lower self is more about lower buddhi. The higher self is more about divya buddhi, because it comes from the element which is non-judgmental, non-critical. It is a lot expansive in nature. It does not contracts you, limits you. It opens up the infinite intelligence inside of you. Right. So that's what you can, put it in the terms of higher self and lower self.
Got it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Hitesh. It's a lovely session. Thank you.
Welcome.
So
Thank
I have a question that on this, that if I'm criticizing myself, that also is lower buddhi, and I need to stop doing it, and like for betterment, there is absolute do not have any negative or positive. But if I'm trying to go elevate, self elevate, in the it will be beneficial if I do not criticize myself, let go and do the next thing better. Is that the way it is going?
Yes, Manju, yes. You don't have to criticize ourselves, because out of criticism, we are not going to get anything for our own self. We should do that which is going to serve us. We might not be the best version of ourselves, but every day we can grow and become better. And that's what journey is about. So we can become a better version of ourselves. At the same time, we can be gentle to ourselves. Criticism is not being gentle to self.
But also in real thing, we have to do the action because we are staying in a society because of that, but not criticize. Without criticize, so tension also will be less. Okay, I got it.
That's right.
तो एक क्वेश्चन मेरा भी है। हम स्टार्टिंग जब करते हैं तो शुरुआत में खुद को क्रिटिसाइज करने के बेटर है कि हम बोल दे सामने, क्योंकि पोजीशन तो धीरे धीरे ही बढ़ेगी। डे फर्स्ट तो हम नहीं कर सकते। तो अब ये बताइए कि मैं चुप रह के खुद को क्रिटिसाइज करूं बाद में, या मुझे जो फील हो रहा है मैं वो सामने बोला हूं?
देखिए, द आंसर इज विद यू मंजू जी। मैं आपको माध्यम बता सकता हूँ, जैसे मैंने आपको 4 तरीके बताए अपनी बुद्धि को डिफाइन करने के।
जी।
जो मेरे लिए सही होगा शायद वो आपके लिए नहीं सही होगा।
पर
मैं आपको कह दूं आपको बोलना नहीं चाहिए, आपको लगे नहीं मेरी सिचुएशन ऐसी है, मेरे को बोलना चाहिए, तो आप बोलिए। पर आपको अंदर अपने तोल भाव करके उसका आंसर लेना चाहिए। और वो कैसे आएगा? जब आप अपने अंदर थोड़ा सा साइलेंस में जाओगे, मेडिटेट करोगे, अपने अंदर से जो आवाज आएगी कि मेरे लिए राइट मोमेंट में क्या होना चाहिए, उससे आएगा वो आवाज।
इसी में सवाल ये भी है कि कुछ लोग जब अपन जवाब देते हैं तो वो थोड़ा अलग नजरिए से ले जाके एक ब्लैकमेलिंग जैसा होता है। अच्छा, मैं तो बिल्कुल ही खराब हूं इसलिए मुझे कुछ कह रहे हो। तो फिर उस सिचुएशन में हमें चुप रहना चाहिए या बोल देना चाहिए? क्योंकि वो बार बार चुप रहना बीमारियों को भी न्योता देता है। रात को
बोलिए,
नींद
जरूर
नहीं
बोलिए,
आएगी तो क्या करें?
जरूर बोलिए, जरूर बोलिए। अगर आपको लगता है बोलना चाहिए तो बोलिए।
और बोलने के बाद सुकून महसूस हो, इसका मतलब सही है।
बिल्कुल ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं। देखिए, देयर इज नो राइट एंड रॉन्ग।
जी।
आई वॉन्ट टू ब्रिंग यू टू हियर, देयर इज नो पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव, नो राइट एंड रॉन्ग। कोई ऐसा कुछ डिफाइन नहीं है उस कॉस्मिक कॉन्शियसनेस में। हम उसको अपने तरीके से, एक अपनी सिचुएशन के हिसाब से उस पॉसिबिलिटी को प्लग करते हैं।
ओके। और बोलते हुए वर्ड्स सही रखें और अपनी बात कह सकते हैं।
हाँ, बस जब आप कहेंगे कि मैं कॉन्शियसली हर चीज करूंगी, भले ही मैं चुप रहूं वो भी कॉन्शियसली करूंगी, अगर मैं बोल रही हूँ वो भी कॉन्शियसली करूंगी, आपका काम हो रहा है।
फिर ठीक है।
एक्शंस हमारे न्यूट्रल होते हैं मंजू जी। हमारे इंटेंट्स में सब कुछ डिफाइन होता है। हमारी जो अंदर एनर्जी चल रही है ना, सटल सेंसेस जो चल रही है, उसमें सब कुछ डिफाइन होता है। तो अगर आप जो करना चाहते हैं अपने से अगर पूछें कि मैं क्यों करना चाहती हूँ, फिर आपको उसका उत्तर सही मिलेगा।
ठीक है, थैंक यू।
वेलकम।
प्रणाम मैम। प्रणाम। हाँ जी, ऋचा जी आप कुछ पूछना चाहती है, पूछिए।
जी, हेलो।
हाँ
जी
हाँ,
नमस्ते।
पूछिए पूछिए, नमस्ते कर रहे हैं।
आ रही है मैम? मैम मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, बोलिए।
ओके। जैसे अभी ये लास्ट क्वेश्चन जो इनका था, एक तो उससे रिलेटेड है, जैसे मान लीजिए अगर मैं कुछ बोल रही हूँ, आपने बोला कॉन्शियसली बोलने के लिए, मुझे पता है कि यहाँ मुझे गुस्सा करना ही है, यहाँ मुझे थोड़ा सा वॉल्यूम को रेज करना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा सा लाउड होना पड़ेगा इस सिचुएशन को संभालने के लिए, तो वो क्या सही है? अगर कॉन्शियसली मैं कर रही हूँ कि एकदम से ऊपर गए उसको सिचुएशन को हैंडल करने के लिए, फिर वापस मैं डाउन आ गई, मीन्स मेरा कंट्रोल है।
देखिए,
तो
मैं इसमें फिर से कहूंगा, देर इज रॉन्ग एंड राइट। आपके लिए आपका रॉन्ग एंड राइट व्यक्तिगत है। अगर
ओके।
गुस्सा होना बुरा बात होती तो काली माता को कभी दर्शाया नहीं जाता। गुस्सा होना बुरी बात होती तो भगवान कृष्ण को शिशु, दैट्स नॉट ऑल्सो राइट,
ओके।
है ना। तो आपको तोल भाव के, आपकी सिचुएशन के हिसाब से जो करना चाहिए वो
अच्छा, मेरा एक क्वेश्चन और एक रिक्वेस्ट है। पहली रिक्वेस्ट ये है कि आपने जो वो 4 बताए थे, ज्ञान अज्ञान, वो थोड़ा सा क्विक अगर आप कर दे रिपीट।
हाँ, ज्ञान अज्ञान का अंतर, धर्म अधर्म का अंतर, पैशन डिस्पैशन का अंतर, विच मीन्स
ओके।
अटैचमेंट डिटैचमेंट एंड अटैचमेंट का अंतर, देन पावर एंड पावरलेसनेस, शक्ति शक्तिहीन।
ओके। ओके। अब मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मेरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से मैं ये क्वेश्चन कर रही हूँ कि जब तक हम आध्यात्म को नहीं जानते थे इसके बारे में, तब तक सब ठीक चल रहा था, लेकिन जैसे अध्यात्म है, मतलब मैं अपना पर्सनल बता रही हूँ, मैं जितना डीप जा रही हूँ, मेरे सामने मतलब जैसे मैं मेडिटेशन से उठती हूँ और जिस दिन मेरा बहुत अच्छा वाला मेडिटेशन होता है ना, मतलब सिचुएशंस ऐसी ऐसी आती हैं जो मैंने कभी सोची भी नहीं सकती थी कि ऐसी भी हो सकती है, और वो मुझे हैंडल करने के लिए मिलती है। कभी मैं कर पाती हूँ हैंडल, कभी नहीं कर पाती हूँ। जब मैं नहीं कर पाती हूँ तो कहीं ना कहीं मेरे अंदर गिल्ट आ जाता है कि मैं ये सब साधनाएं कर रही हूँ और मुझे गुस्सा आ गया तो गलत है ये।
जी
तो थोड़ा सा इसके बारे में कुछ बता सकते हैं?
जी, ऋचा जी, आपने सागर मंथन के बारे में सुना है ना?
हाँ जी।
है ना, सागर मंथन के अंदर विष भी निकला था और बहुत सारे उपहार भी निकले थे। तो ऐसा ही
हम्म।
मंथन हमारे भीतर भी चलता है। जब हम अध्यात्म की जर्नी पर चलते हैं, वो मंथन हम सबके अंदर उतरता है। पर
ओके।
ज्यादातर हमारा ध्यान जो है ना, विष पे निकल जाता है कि अरे
जी।
मैं ध्यान कर रहा हूँ तो मेरे अंदर से ये विष कहाँ से आ रहा है। पर आपके अंदर से तोहफे भी बाहर आ रहे हैं, उस पे अपना ध्यान रखिए। और
ओके।
इसके कारण आपकी जर्नी रुकनी नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि जैसे कहा ना, द्वैत हमारी सृष्टि का एक हिस्सा है ना। दिन भी है, रात भी है। हमारे बुजुर्ग कहते थे ज्यादा मत हंसो, उतना ही रोना पड़ेगा। क्यों? क्योंकि वो हमें डुअलिटी के बारे में बताने का प्रयास करते थे। तो इसीलिए स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी आपको, एक जगह पे अगर आप कंटेंटमेंट फील करते हो तो किसी जगह पे आपको थोड़ा सा ट्रबल भी हो सकता है, पर इट डज नॉट मीन इट इज कमिंग टू पिन यू डाउन। आपको नीचे गिराने के लिए नहीं आ रहा है, आपको ये बताने के लिए आ रहा है कि आपको अपना काम मंथन कंटिन्यू रखना चाहिए, और धीरे धीरे सफाई होते होते आपका सब काम हो जाएगा।
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो मच हितेश, थैंक यू सो मच मैम।
थैंक यू रिचा फॉर कमिंग। आई थिंक हितेश का एक ही इम्पोर्टेंट बात जो उन्होंने कही, ध्यान करिए, मेडिटेट करिए, अपने भीतर देखिए, एंड देन दैट विल गाइड यू फर्दर। दैट्स व्हाट हितेश इज ट्राइंग टू से, है ना?
यस यस।
और जैसे आपने बहुत सुंदर तरीके से कहा कि आज का बड़ा अच्छा ध्यान था तो मेरा दिन अच्छा गया, जब ध्यान ठीक नहीं होता तो दिन अच्छा नहीं जाता। दिस इटसेल्फ इज योर गाइडेंस, है ना? यही तो आपका
यस।
अंतर्मुख होना जरूरी है। गो डीपर इनसाइड योरसेल्फ, नो? नाइस।
मैं हितेश के लिए मैं एक चीज शेयर करना चाहूंगी। इनका तो जब मैं कभी इंस्टाग्राम पे भी मैम, इवन आप कभी कभी मतलब ऐसा होता है कि कुछ क्वेश्चंस होते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं आपका मैसेज वो नोटिफिकेशन पॉपअप हो जाता है, और पता नहीं क्या होता है मैम कि मुझे जरूरत होती है, मैं क्लिक करती हूँ ना, वही मुझे आंसर मिल जाता है। जो आज के एक मैसेज आया हुआ था टीटी ग्रुप में, मैम बिल्कुल मैं सिचुएशन पे बिल्कुल सेट हो रहा था वो।
चलो, अच्छी बात है। दैट इज व्हाट ही सेड, ना, द
तो
यूनिवर्स
थैंक यू
इज
सो मच
replying to you.
मैम, थैंक यू सो मच।
ठीक है, थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग। ओके,
Thank you, Hitesh. Thank you so much. And like Richa said, like as if this whole session was to give me some answers that I was seeking today. Thank you so much. It was wonderful, really.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Tripti ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Thank you,
Thank you, Tripti
everybody.
ma'am. Thank you,
Thank
Hitesh ji. Thank you so much.
you for being here and encouraging us to continue this amazing journey with all of you. And of course, inviting some amazing masters who continue to enlighten us because they are on their journey of enlightenment. इसीलिए वो हमें जब भी आते हैं हितेश जी तो he always brings up something which makes us think further. ऐसा नहीं कि ये टॉपिक आप नहीं जानते बट आज हितेश जी ने इतने ब्यूटिफुली इसको एक्सप्लेन किया लाइक शकुंतला सेड with examples that you can understand. I think that is his can USP. हितेश की USP वो है कि वो एकदम बहुत ही सरल तरीके से वो एक बहुत ही गहरी चीज को बोलते हैं and I think that is a wonderful USP for a teacher to have. So thank you Hitesh again. And I know that you'll continue coming to this forum and sharing your wisdom. And thank you everybody here for your wise questions because आपके प्रश्नों से ही wise wisdom ऊपर आती है guests में. So your questions also can help us to probe further. So thank you everybody, and again have a wonderful year ahead.